Well, good morning, everyone. I'm Leanne Taylor with the News on 6. So happy to see you here on Facebook Live. Hope you're having a wonderful day, and we're thrilled that you're going to be a part of today's holiday coffee talk. This is a virtual conversation that we're having today. Not only myself, but I'm joined by my partner in crime, Dave Davis, and our Weekend 6 in the Morning anchor, Amy Kaufman. Merry Christmas to all. I am so thrilled. This is my most favorite time of the year, right, guys?
Oh, yes. Good morning.
We can definitely tell. You've got all the inflatables.
Well, I was thrilled to be invited to get to host this. And you guys, I'm just so excited to get to share some of our past stories, our memories, our traditions. I want to remind our viewers right now, if you have a question, you can just type it in the comment section below and we'll get those questions. We're going to do a little viewer questions at the end of this broadcast. So hopefully if you have something you're curious about, and then I already have some questions that we're going to hit too as well, like our favorite songs, our favorite holiday traditions, maybe the least favorite thing we had to do as a kid growing up. So it'll be really cool. But I'm going to just have each of us kind of give a little overview of what Christmas means to them. And I'll get started, guys. You know, I love Christmas. I have always loved Christmas since I was a little kid. I was an only child. And so I'm going to take a line that I'd heard Amy say the other day. I was spoiled. I mean, everything revolved around me. So Christmas Eve, Christmas Day, all of the buildup was awesome. I mean, we had packages that would just pile up around the tree. And we'll talk a little bit about this, interesting, because for my family, we did Christmas Eve as unwrapping gifts to each other. And then Santa came, and Christmas morning, you had another set of presents. So it was a lot about the gifts. But for me, growing up in the church, I knew the true meaning of Christmas and the birth of Christ and the Bethlehem and the manger and the nativity and all of the special things that go along with that. And so as I grew up, it's just become such a vital part of my life. And I love sharing this time of year. You know, a lot of people say, well, why do you decorate, so close to Thanksgiving? It's like, well, I'm thankful that it's almost Christmas. So that's how I get away with, I don't skip over Thanksgiving. I just incorporate it into my Christmas holiday celebrations. Dave, I know you and your sister and mom and dad grew up in Ohio. What was the holidays like for you?
Oh, well, first of all, Christmas time, December in Ohio is snow, oftentimes very cold. So you never forgot what season it was. Unlike Oklahoma, which, I'm not complaining, but like 75 degrees, my parents' like jaws are on the ground when I Facebook Live and they're like, oh, you still have trees? You still have trees you still have leaves on the trees? And it's like, yeah, but no, in Ohio, you knew, okay, it's Christmas time. A lot of times you wouldn't get white Christmases every time, but it was just, it was so beautiful. So it was my sister and me growing up, mom and dad, my sister Danielle. I think she's watching this. And yes, our names are Danielle and David Davis. Yep, that's real. Okay, so Danielle and David Davis grew up in the little, house in Ohio, and we just loved it. Oh my gosh, we loved Christmas. We always knew what we wanted right away. And of course, like Leanne said, we grew up in church as well. So the true meaning of Christmas, that was reinforced through my grandparents. We'll talk more about that tradition later, but through my grandparents. And it was just a really magical time. And, I was talking with my cousins early, and we were talking, the four of us were roughly close in age. It was a magical childhood in so many ways growing up when we were getting the holidays together. Like, when you pick up with someone right left off, lived in Florida, we didn't see them that much. But it was just that type of thing where we were just thick as thieves whenever we would get together around holidays. So I just remember family at church about Christmas, and just nothing more exciting than Christmas as a kid, I think.
And Amy, I know you have an older sister. Tell us about your life as a growing up.
Well, I grew up in Pennsylvania, so I'm definitely an implant to Oklahoma. But like Dave, snow was definitely present, and that's what made it feel like the holidays. This year, I actually decorated before Halloween, because it got a little cold outside. So I decided, hey, it was time to put the tree up and to get all the decorations out. And I actually got engaged on Christmas last year. So this Christmas will be 1 year engaged and we're getting married next June. Trying to wait out this whole pandemic thing. But I guess I have to say that was the best Christmas gift I ever got. But, we'll talk about a few others later. But I definitely, am going to miss being home this year for Christmas and for the holidays. I was supposed to go home for Thanksgiving, but due to COVID, we decided to change our travel plans and stay here. But I was able to do a Zoom call with my family on Thanksgiving, which was really fun because we were all in different parts of the country and we could kind of talk about, how everything's going and still share time together. So we're just going to be thankful for what we have this year and just kind of enjoy where we are.
We're incredibly blessed to have the technology that we have today to still be able to connect and to see our loved ones and to share. And this next hour, we're going to have a lot of fun and we're going to share pictures and stories. But we're all very aware that not all the holidays mean the same to everybody. And it can be a very difficult time if you're alone, if you've lost a loved one, and this is the first holiday that person's not with you. So we're very sensitive to all of those needs. But I know for me, I'm going to have Christmas with my kids and my husband here at the house, and mom and her husband will be at their house, and grandma and grandpa will be at their. So we are going to definitely social distance and try to do some Zoom calls and that kind of thing. Dave, I know you went back for Thanksgiving, but this is really going to be your kind of little your nuclear family getting together.
Yeah, a lot of it. I mean, we will do, I think, a small gathering, but it's been a challenging year, and it's never quite met your expectations for any holiday yet. But you cherish the FaceTime calls, you cherish the calls on the phone, you cherish those who you can't see in person. I have seen some of my family in person, and it's an unforgettable year in so many ways. But you just try to make your priorities as best as you can. Some people it's just going to be a disappointing time for some. And like Leanne mentioned, you just put it perfectly. Obviously, this is a disappointing time for some folks who have had losses. And so we're just super sensitive to that. But you just cherish the moments. This is a year that has reminded us all. It's reminded me, cherish the moments you have with your loved ones anytime that you can get.
You bet. Hey, I've got a kind of the rapid fire questions. I do want to remind our watchers right now, if you have a question and we don't get to it, go ahead and put that in the comments section below. Okay. Want you to tell me your favorite Christmas carol or Christmas song and why. Amy, I'll let you go first.
Okay. Mine is All I Want for Christmas, just because I love the beat. I'm not going to sing it, but maybe Leanne could, hum it a little bit. Mariah Carey's Got Nothing on You. So yeah. That's probably my favorite. I just, it's one of those songs that you always heard when you were walking around the mall, like either going to see Santa or just going to pick up some holiday gifts for family. And so that just makes me think of Christmas.
Absolutely. For me, I love every Christmas carol that was ever written. We used to go and Christmas carol in a previous life with at nursing homes and retirement centers. I took my daughter to do that. So Silent Night, probably my number one Christmas carol. Oh Holy Night, sung by David Phelps. If you've never heard that, Google it. It's just beautiful. So those are my favorite. Dave, I know you as a pianist, sometimes you get to play your songs, but do you have ones that you like to hear or sing?
Yeah, the ones I like to hear, I can't play today, just copyright issues. Sorry, folks. I would, but anyway, my favorite has always been Hark the Herald Angels Sing. But then about 3 years ago, I was driving to work. It was like Christmas Eve morning or Christmas morning, and one of the local radio stations here in Tulsa played the Amy Grant version. Oh my gosh, guys, I was just driving. I was like...
I tell you,
I don't sob for songs and I don't cry like a lot.
Go ahead and say it. I don't cry like Leanne does.
No, I just was like sobbing. And so every time I hear that song for the last 3 years, of course, I put it immediately on iTunes. I put it immediately on iTunes, and then I just listen to it all that I can. It's just such a great version. Your Phelps version of A Holy Night. Yeah. Amy Grant version of Hark.
Perfect. Let's talk movies. That's always been for one of our traditions, going to a movie on Christmas Day, or now in my family, DVDs. We watched a lot of those. I love well, I love the old black and whites or the classics. I like Holiday Inn. I like White Christmas. But the more contemporary ones, adore Elf. I mean, that is just hilarious. I love Will Ferrell, anything he does. For me as a child, and I know you guys have seen the Charlie Brown Christmas special. You've seen Frosty and Rudolph and Santa Claus is Coming to Town. But for me back in the day, that was our entertainment because there were only 3 local TV stations. And when CBS would run those, you made sure you were in front of the TV watching. And, when Charlie Brown and Linus does the whole true meaning of Christmas, can't even talk. Anyway, I love it. So those are, I love Home Alone cracks me up. All that. You'll shoot your eye out, A Christmas Story. But there's one I want to mention because I know a lot of people probably haven't seen it. It's called I've got A Family Stone, and it's got Diane Keaton in it and Rachel McAdams, and it's about a family, and Sarah Jessica Parker's in it, and it's about family and relationship, and it has a very kind of a surprise ending. So if you've never seen that, I highly recommend. Amy, what's yours?
Well, I definitely love Christmas Vacation. It's just a fun movie to watch around the holidays. And I also love the Home Alone movies. Growing up on the East Coast, we went to New York City all the time. So it was always fun to go to Central Park and kind of see, where the movie was filmed. And New York City definitely always makes me think of Christmas. So Home Alone's a classic to watch around the holidays.
Dave?
Yes, I agree, Amy. Home Alone. Don't forget Home Alone 2. It was amazing. Yep. About a year ago, we watched Home Alone 2. Guys and girls watching it, it is a seriously good movie. It's almost as good as Home Alone 1, and I'm not kidding. So he's like in New York, and he gets trapped in a hotel, and then there's like the hotel clerks are totally clueless, and they leave like a kid in a hotel room. Hello. But anytime you say the movie Home Alone out loud, it sounds right. Like, he was like in an abandoned building and the robbers were chasing him and he dropped tons of bricks on him. It like the cool, like kid violence that, like I was playing with Army men when I was a kid, but also great message. And he gets saved, he is saved in the end with,
okay, should have done a spoiler alert, folks.
And let me, at the 35-minute mark, I'm kidding, but Home Alone 2, both great.
Is there anything, guys, that you don't like about the holidays? And there's only one. There's only one. I don't understand fruitcake. Can somebody explain fruitcake to me? And who actually eats it?
No one.
Yeah. Does somebody have a hot take?
Yeah. So that'd be my question to our viewers. Write that in the comments. Who eats fruitcake and why? And maybe there's somebody. Maybe once upon a time that was the only kind of thing that would last you. During the Depression, it was a great treat. But anyway, that's my only negative about the holidays. Okay, I have on a Christmas sweater. I only have 30 of them. Amy, you're wearing your Merry Liftmas.
It says Merry Liftmas. I'm a big CrossFitter and I like to work out. So this is my workout sweatshirt. Santa's lifting weights. And it's a little different from Dave's.
Dave? You look like
So I don't have any of the Christmas sweaters. None were given to me by Leanne, or I don't do CrossFit. So, I have a couple things. One, look at this Christmas tie. I wear it maybe every Christmas Eve on the C-Dub. Okay. If you're watching the CW, we got Santa and his reindeer. I've got a fun sweater that I got on sale at Banana Republic that I think is just kind of like, okay, this is Christmassy and it was cheap. And then this is Amanda's. So I'm stealing. This is Amanda's mug. She doesn't like me using her mugs because I break things. I've broken many of our dishes, but I am very careful with this one. And it's a little dog in the snow. So, and then of course our Christmas tree that we decorate, that we have Baby's First Christmas on with my 2 sons. We have 2 little cute pictures on there, Baby's First Christmas. So cute. Yeah.
Christmas is about children. That is the focus. And that's what's so awesome. I know Dave with William and Colin, it's exciting to watch them see as Christmas unfolds, whether that's a trip to Santa and seeing him for the first time, or if it's, just like the family photo of trying to get everybody in. Did you have that tradition, Amy? Did your family put together, do the family picture?
We never really did the family picture. We always took a picture of our cat in front of the tree every year. He was super cute. Rascal. He was a trooper. But my sister and I have tons and tons of pictures with Rascal in front of the tree. This year Jake and I have been trying to do pictures with our dogs. Right. So we haven't been able to get out and take the pictures of us with the dogs. So we've just been taking pictures of the dogs together, and we need to find them some cute little bandanas or something like that. But it'll be
antlers. Get some antlers.
Yes. I don't think that they will keep them on, but maybe we'll try some antlers.
Well, and Christmas cards, I'd not done them for a while, but then when I had kids and it was I just got into taking pictures. So it's become kind of our tradition. And the picture on the card usually kind of relates to the year that we've had. One year we had an ice storm, and everybody probably remembers many blizzards and stuff around the holidays, but this one took down one of our beautiful pear trees, and it collapsed on this plastic Santa and the reindeer. And so they were all kind of it was all upheaval. And so we stood out there, and we just kind of all stood around the debris left over. And that was the Christmas picture. We've done Photoshop where Andy's dressed up as Santa, and Rachel has looked like one of the Christmas elves. And, it's funny how we just Christmas cards. This year, I'm not going to tell because I'll probably post one later, but it will definitely be one to reflect the year that we've experienced. So, and I know a lot of people, instead of the expense of a Christmas card, just post to Facebook, which I think is really doable because that makes sure everybody kind of gets into it. But some families do the big long letter that kind of outlines what the year has been like. Dave, what about you guys? Did your family put together pictures and stuff like that?
Yes, my dad is the picture taker. He is the photographer. He's the one. Their photos. He has rolls of film. He has so many pictures, and this is before Facebook. Like I have my pictures on like the cloud now, like whatever that means. He real actual 5,000 pictures. I have like, $5,000 on my cloud, but he has like really the honest to goodness $5,000 pictures, I'm sure. And so he always got the family together. He would always make everybody smile. He would always let you know if it was a wasted picture. It's like, no, eyes closed. Come on, guys, let's just everybody smile. So he's the one taking 10 to 20 pictures. My sister's watching, she'll back this up. And so we have a ton of pictures of us at the holidays, and that's been a blessing with the family members who have passed on. We have those pictures every year from like the 80s up until now. So that has been really cool. And I have become that for my family now, taking pictures of the boys. I think I have like 10,000 of both of them together. I really try to carry on that tradition because I know that growing up, like we're in a technologically advanced time where we can do this, and we have these cameras at our fingertips, and not everybody has been able to do this. So like take advantage of it. It's right here, and you never know. You just never know. So the pictures are precious.
I want to talk about our favorite gifts because I think, Christmas, it is more blessed to give than to receive, but it sure is nice to get every once in a while. And I would say, in fact, I'm gonna have to go get it. So I'll tell you what my favorite gift was as a child. I watched a TV show back then. It was called Family Affair, and it was a little boy and a little girl, Buffy and Jody, and they had to live with their uncle. And then the uncle had a butler named Mr. French. It's just weird how you remember weird things like that. And, like I can't tell you somebody I met yesterday, but I can give you all the back plot on these stories. But the little girl on there, Buffy, had a doll named Mrs. Beasley. And Mrs. Beasley was like a little grandma doll. And I'll show you the one that I don't have my original, but I do have, my mom got me a copy one just a few Christmases back. So I do have her. That was my favorite tangible gift, but the best gift I ever got was my son Nick. He'll be turning 21 December the 20th of this year. He came right before Christmas. My due date was a little bit later, but the doctor said, would you like to go ahead and come in? And I want to be home for Christmas. And so that was 21 years ago. I'm going to start crying. But that was my most special time because he was born at Hillcrest, and the nurses there provided these big stockings, and then they put him inside of it, and he had a little Christmas hat, and it's one of my most favorite, most precious. And being home right after having the baby and having a son and being pregnant at Christmas, I did a couple of events that reading the Christmas story and what Mary was probably thinking. And it was a special time. So he is my most precious gift and the most expensive. So Amy, we'll let you talk about your gift. I'm going to run and get my Mrs. Beasley while they talk. Okay.
Well, I actually came home in a stocking too, because my birthday is December 19th.
Oh, wonderful.
Yes. So we were always celebrating birthdays around the holidays, which you always felt like you were kind of getting gypped on the presents, because everybody would be like, oh, here's your birthday and your Christmas present. And so my mom always tried to make it really separate, like have a birthday party and then have Christmas. And but my sister and I were the only grandkids on both sides of the family. So we had some big Christmases, and we were definitely a little spoiled, that's for sure. But I would say my favorite gifts that I got, my grandpa would buy us an American Girl doll every year, but it was only if we read the book. And he was a former chemistry teacher. So not only did we have to read the book, but we had to do a book report on the book.
Perfect.
I had to tell him about the doll and how the doll grew up, and just about the time period that it was set in. So we always had to, make sure that we were on our game, or we weren't going to get our American Girl doll for Christmas. But those were some of my favorite memories, just because it was always fun sitting down and talking with him about history. So those were probably my favorite ones. He also got me a necklace, and that's one of the, it was about 2 years before he passed. And so that's always a gift that I'll hold close to me. That's for sure.
And then of course, getting engaged on Christmas last year.
I know. Yeah. I was going to say, yeah, I have my ring here. Beautiful. So I guess I have to say that that's my new favorite Christmas gift, but it's definitely been a fun year, and I'm so thankful for everything that my parents were able to give me, throughout the years. And of course, Santa always came through, that's for sure. And I bet Santa's going to come through for Colin.
I know he will. We just Colin there. He's always running around. Now, did he get to see Santa last year, Dave? I can't remember.
No, he didn't. We didn't really grow up with a huge Santa thing in our house. So I don't know. We would visit Santa, but no, we didn't make it. I know, but I think Santa still visited it anyway. But no, really, growing up, my favorite gift, I always loved Legos for Christmas. So if we're talking about tangible, you're talking about Mrs. Beasley, I'm talking about Legos. I wanted anything Lego, and I always liked history. Before I went into this business, I really wanted to be a history teacher, my whole life. So anything, I had these little British Revolutionary War soldiers. They had pirate ship. My pirate ship Lego was my prized possession. I remember after Christmas, I was putting it together. We were watching a college football game, and my dad wasn't looking. And this is something that I would do now. He just steps on it, breaks the pirate's arm. So then it's a one-armed pirate. But then I'm kind of that's cool. And that's on brand. He's been through it. You know what I'm saying? So the one-armed pirate was very a kind of an ad lib thing that kind of just happened. I love that growing up. And then I've shared this before, but December 23rd, 2012, I proposed to Amanda in my hometown, in my backyard with my sister. I wish I had a picture of this. I'm sorry I didn't send you a picture, Megan, our producer, but my dad and sister hid behind a cardboard box decorated with Christmas garland as camo, and took pictures and video of me proposing. And I had to get Amanda to the backyard. I had to ship the ring to Ohio and made sure that it got there on time. I had to basically lie to Amanda and said, hey, well, actually, let's do another round around the neighborhood to give my parents time to set up the surprise. And so I think it was the most thoughtful thing I've ever done, honestly, in my whole life. And so, Amanda, that was my best, obviously, Christmas gift. December 23rd, 2012 is when we got engaged. And then we got married July of 2013.
I love it. I love it. Well, I found Miss Beasley. This was her.
Ooh.
I mean, is this not like,
Ooh.
she's like,
Oh my.
I'm a grandmother. Anyway, she even has a.
You're the nicest little friend I ever had.
I do think you're the nicest little friend I've ever had. It's weird. It's weird. It's just weird.
My reaction is, wow.
Dave.
Wow.
Dave.
Oh,
Well,
I'm sorry. Okay.
Amy, you're going to start a new life with your husband. Dave, you have a young family. Thinking about traditions, what are some of the things that you want to incorporate? Because like for me, I getting the Christmas tree, we had a real tree all the time until I was pregnant with Nick. And that year I knew that I was going to be having a baby and being possibly in the hospital. And I just thought having to deal with a tree and make sure that, it got, so that year was the year that we began artificial trees. So that was a big deal. We'd go to Utica Square and watch the lights on. I know other families who go to Rama. What are some of the traditions maybe that you had as a child that you want to incorporate with your families as you begin your family? Amy?
Well, we always had a real tree every year. So that's something that I definitely want to continue. We also never had a theme to our tree. We always just threw ornaments up there, and it was fun because the Christmas tree really told our family's story. There were always very different ornaments, and we had Barbies up there. We had Dad's soccer ornaments, and we had all kinds of just different things. The Wizard of Oz, some of them made noise, some of them were really annoying, and some of them would end up on the floor because the cats would get them. But it was just always fun to be able to decorate as a family. And we would always go get our tree as a family, and we'd always decorate it as a family. So that's something that I definitely want to stay true to whenever we start our family. But I definitely think another thing that I want to add in is my parents made us sit at the top of the stairs on Christmas Day until they said that we could come down to see all the presents. So as much as I didn't like it as a kid, because I just wanted to run down the stairs and see everything under the tree, it was just one of those moments that, my sister and I would always have together, like, oh, what do you think Santa brought? And we would always talk about what we thought was in the presents. But some of the pictures, I know I don't look super excited to be sitting at the top of the stairs, but that's definitely something that I always will remember, and I want to pass down to my kids someday.
That was a big deal for my family, because my husband, he has an older brother, and for them, they were down the hall before mom and dad ever even woke up. So they had already gotten the presents. They were just manhandling them. That was just the boy thing to do. So when we got married, it was kind of like, time out. We got to get pictures. So I want to make sure. And so the kids knew they stay in their beds until it was time, and we would get up. And we'd get up early. We didn't make them wait too late. But, it'd be like, okay, we're all awake now. And I'd get the video and Dad would get the camera. And so as soon as they came in, we documented everything. So again, I think that was because as I was growing up back in the day, it was a lot of Polaroids and 8mm film. And so you didn't have a lot of that kind of memory. And so it's been really fun. And now, Amy, just like you, as my kids have gotten grown, they're like, oh, let's watch that again. That was so funny when. And so one year Santa brought Rachel a cat in a box. And so we kept hearing this noise, and it was, and she ended up naming it Holly, which we let her name it, which I thought that's really kind of clever for, I think she was like 7. So I was dangerous because I didn't know where we might be heading with that name, but it was good. So Dave, what about traditions? Either you're continuing with your children or are important to you?
Yeah, growing up, it's going to be hard to duplicate these traditions because it was just so unique in the moment. So growing up, I was very fortunate to have both my mom's parents and my dad's mom with us. So growing up, Grandma and Grandpa Wagner, my mom's parents, we went up there Christmas Eve. That was very important, Christmas Eve. And we opened the presents from that side of the family. Grandma would always have this And she's still around. She's 95 and she's still making stuff and doing pancakes, making pancakes for herself for Valentine's Day. I mean, she's just like, she's great. But she would have these candies and cookies and treats and delicacies and all these little like, those chocolate drop cookies with the Hershey's Kiss, and then the holly and the ivy, like red hot candy cornflake thing. You know what I'm talking about. You all on Facebook know exactly. She had just a table of this, so we loved it, and we would love to like play with her tree, play with her little ornaments, and we were really rascals. And so then we would go to church, and then Christmas morning we would go back to my hometown for Grandma Davis's Christmas. And that was the big one. There was, 20, 30 people there. There were so many people, we had to draw names out of a hat of who would buy gifts for who, because in the 80s and 90s, there was like a baby boom in our family. So it was like, boom, kids just everywhere. Right. So we had Grandma Davis's, and then delayed gratification. And this is something we will carry on with the kids. It was not until Christmas night where we opened our presents. We did the story of the manger, the Christmas story on like a felt board, or we would read it from the Bible. And then we would do Christmas, the big Christmas, mom and dad, the bigger gifts for us. That was actually Christmas night. So I'm trying to teach delayed gratification to the kids, because that's how we grew up, and we had to wait for the big presents until the very, very end.
So Amy, when did you open presents? How did that work for you and your family?
We always opened them Christmas morning with my mom and dad, and then we would go to my grandpa's house and open gifts with him, and then we would go to my grandma's house and eat dinner. And so it was kind of just a full day of opening presents. This was mostly just with my dad's side of the family, and we were able to, my mom's side of the family was from the other side of the state, so we were able to, they'd always send us a present, and we would open it in a box and pass it around, and be able to take a gift from the box. But it was a lot of fun being with family all day. And we always had lunch, we always had dinner, and like Dave, we always had dessert. Those Hershey
multiple helpings.
Oh my gosh, those were my favorite. That's for sure.
Yeah, my mom is a great cook, and she loved to make divinity and fudge. And I remember that. I was telling Dave this story the other day. One thing that she made, and I think I'm going to I was going to do it this year, but I didn't. But she made this thing called a kissing ball. And you would take a styrofoam ball that you would get at the craft store, a bag of hairpins, and a net from the fabric shop. And then you would cut the net in squares, and then you would run the hairpin through the net and make kind of a fluff. And then that would go into the ball. And you would do this all around the ball. And then you put a couple of sprigs of artificial mistletoe and you would hang it. And that was called a kissing ball. And so I don't know how many people ever did that, but my mom had one, and we made several as gifts. And then my mom was a very good seamstress, and they would have light switch covers that looked like Santa. And then the switch would be his nose. And then you would put it, and of course it was made of felt, and then it had sequins on it. And then, and she also made my Christmas stocking. And I don't know if we have time to show that picture, but it was very cool when I married Andy. His family is very much into keeping things. And I have his grandmother who passed away. I have her tree skirt that she made by hand with the little sequins. And then his grandma made him a stocking that had his name on it. And my mom made this beautiful green felt stocking that has this giant face of Santa. And I'll never forget, I remember looking at his face. He had the rosy cheeks and the bluest of eyes, and his beard, and all of it was with sequins and felt. And again, it's just funny how I'm so grateful I had those, because they were important to me as a kid. And so I'm telling you guys this because, Dave, there'll be an ornament that Colin will like to just be mesmerized with, or Amy, your kids might have something that, that was something that your mom or your grandma had that will be meaningful to them. And that's, to me, what Christmas is about. It's the memories and the relationship that you have to that, that brings you joy. Dave, do you have an ornament? Yeah.
I loved nutcrackers. I would collect these. I wanted the crazy ones. I wanted this one. We had a nutcracker, and it's still at my house. It's, a foot tall, and it's like an old school, like hunter outdoorsman where he has like some quail around his shoulder. He has a little rifle. 'Cause I like toy guns when I was a kid, big time. And he has a little hat with the feather. It's like kind of like a German outdoorsman, kind of old timey guy. So I have that. I love that one. I played with it so much I broke it. But yeah, this one I think is from my childhood, and mom sends me these. So mom's has everything. My mom has everything, and she'll send me these every once in a while for Christmas, a birthday. She sent me 30 things from my childhood for my 30th birthday. And so she loves doing this stuff and say, hey, remember this? It's like, yes, I do. Kind of this scraggly hair, but hey, he's here. We're still doing it.
Amy, your ornament?
I did. I grabbed one. Most of my childhood ornaments are still at home in Pennsylvania. But this one is really special to me. It's an angel. And it's actually from my sorority house mom. When I was in Ohio, I went to college in Ohio. And she was kind of like a second grandma to me. And she sent this the Christmas before she passed away. So I'll always cherish this ornament. That's for sure. I also have, this is one of the first pictures of Jake and I together. His mom put it into an ornament. So we were at an OU game where they beat Texas.
Ooh,
so
hey.
we were able to go there, and we have a few different ornaments from each year that we've been together. So I'm sure next year's will probably be a wedding photo.
That'll be beautiful. That'll be perfect. Well, and there's baby Colin.
This is baby's first Christmas.
Aww.
Awesome. I love that.
Mwah.
Love that. Now, does William have one too? You ought to.
Not yet. We're still picking out the photo, but there's an empty baby's first Christmas frame with a little stocking on the other side of the tree. But I think we have the photo picked out, and we're going to put it together so he will have one too, because it's important. Kids always want to see pictures of themselves growing up. They don't want to see their older brother. You got to take equal pictures of both of them. So I'm learning that I need to take every moment that Colin had. William needs it.
Exactly. Hey, one of the things I love as I've gotten older is to decorate outdoors. I love to hang lights. I know I kind of convinced Dave. I kind of shamed him, I guess, Amy.
Sure.
Well, not everybody can or wants to, because it can be an expense, and it can be just time consuming. But as I have grown to love decorating, I have a collection of inflatables. We may have some video to show. I don't know, 4 or 5 minutes of that. No, I'm just kidding. But every year after Christmas, I like to go to the stores like Walmart, Target, Home Depot, when stuff is really inexpensive, and buy for the next year. And so I kind of look and see what inflatables I don't have, or I think I'd like to have. One that my husband got this year, I was like, I can't believe we're doing this, but it's 12 feet tall. It's a hot air balloon. The hot air balloon on the top is Santa. He looks like this enormous Santa body and head. And then there's a snowman in the basket. And then I've got ginormous Christmas light bulbs that stand. And I'm all inflatable all the time. And it is an obsession. It could be considered a sickness. My house. I don't even have a place to store half this stuff. But Andy's like, do we really need? And I'm like, yes, we do. And so he knows a happy wife is a happy life. Do you decorate outside, Amy?
We have some lights up and just some decorations around the door. We have a wreath that we got this year. But I can't say that we have any inflatables. We have a lot more decorations inside than we do outside, though. Whenever I started decorating in October, I had just gone to Vintage Market Days, and it was in Kellyville in Creek County. And I stocked up. I saw all the Christmas stuff, and I was like, all right, well, I'm just gonna shop early. I'm gonna
do what a girl's gotta do.
Yeah, and I also love buying handmade things. Mm-hmm. So we have a tree box this year that that a woman from Jenks hand painted, and it was really awesome to be able to get that and to bring it into our home. So I love going to the craft shows and seeing what people are able to make, and even shopping small and just seeing all the different things that we can work into our Christmas this year. So slowly but surely, we're starting to get a few more Christmas decorations. So I'm sure by next year we might have.
I know what I'm getting you for your wedding gift.
I think I'm going to get an inflatable.
Dave, tell them about what you did this year. I was really, really proud of you. And I think Colin and William growing up will remember this.
Yes. So this year, first of all, Amazon, I know it's crazy, but look, you get the Christmas lights cheap after the holidays. That's key. That's how you build up your stock. Leanne already mentioned it. I went to Home Depot. This was like 3 years ago and got C7 bulbs, multicolored bulbs. They're the bigger ones. I, put them all up on my roof and did the individual little stand-up things, the little clips, right? And then I went on Amazon and got these battery-powered lights, wrapped my front little evergreen tree. It's about a 3-foot tree, wrapped my front shrubs. Those are all battery operated on a timer. My lights on my house are on a timer. So it's hands off. That's the key. You don't want a lot of maintenance. You don't want to have to go and turn things on, plug things on like Clark Griswold, right? Just like put it on a timer. And I did it. Colin loves it. He'll say, I want to see Christmas lights. Daddy, I want to see Christmas lights. And then last year when he was 1, he would say Kippus. I want to see Kippus. He would call it Kippus. So I miss him saying Kippus. I hope William calls it Kippus. But anyway, he says Christmas now. So he wants to see the Christmas lights. And when you go out and see him, we've been down to Leanne's house in our car, driven around the neighborhood. And so, I did it for the family. And that's why you do it. You do it for the family and other people's enjoyment. And I got a lot of enjoyment out of it too.
I remember. I love going and driving around and seeing the Christmas lights. There's so many awesome Christmas displays in Tulsa too. And we live in Bristow and we're able to drive around with our dogs, and the dogs love the Christmas lights. They'll stick their heads out the window and they're just mesmerized by it. They'll just look around and they'll have their paws up and they'll have to see around. And it's crazy how much, even growing up, my mom and I would drive around and go look at Christmas lights. And there was always this one street that we would drive on, and it was called Valley Street in Pennsylvania. And you couldn't see grass.
Oh, wow.
Their entire yard was filled with inflatables, filled with all kinds of Christmas displays, lights, everything. I can't imagine what their electricity bill was, but everybody would just go sit there and just watch this house. And that's definitely a favorite memory that I have. We'd always get Starbucks and we would go drive around and look at Christmas lights.
That's awesome. Hey, we got to get to some questions from our viewers. I want to make sure that they know they can put those comments below. But we also want to welcome to the program Amber from 98.5 The Bull. And she is a great cook, and she has a wonderful recipe to share with our viewers. Amber?
Hi, I am Amber from 98.5 The Bull. You might know me from the morning show there. What a lot of people know me from is the Tuesday afternoon cooking segment with News on 6. And today I'm excited to be a part of Coffee Talk so that I can show you guys one of my favorite holiday cookie recipes. Cookies for me are super nostalgic. I just think about when I was growing up, my grandmother used to send us cookies and she would pack them in shoe boxes and wrap them in tissue paper and put real popcorn in there to keep the cookies intact, and she would send them to us, and when we opened it, it just felt like opening home. So cookies are a thing that I love. It doesn't hurt that I have a sweet tooth. Today we are going to learn my deconstructed peppermint bark cookies. So we're just going to start with my dark chocolate cookie base, and you could use this for anything and just kind of have fun with it. I've got 2 sticks of butter to start. I'm going to add in my vanilla and a cup of sugar. I love cookies so much. I don't ever really I don't need them to be pretty. I just want them to taste good. So I've got a 1/2 cup of brown sugar, and now we're gonna get loud for just a moment. Get all these ingredients nicely incorporated. This is a really fun one to leave for Santa. He's been known to really like these cookies before. They go really well with a cold glass of milk. Now that I've got that incorporated, I am going to add in my eggs. So I've got 2 eggs. Get that nicely incorporated. All right, scrape down the sides of my bowl. I like these cookies because you don't have to decorate them. Some people are really, really good at decorating cookies. I am not one of those people. I just want my cookies to taste delicious. If they look pretty by accident, even better. All right, I think that's pretty good. I'm gonna toss in my cocoa. If you pour cocoa in all at once, you'll have a cloud of cocoa. So you want to incorporate this slowly. This cookie recipe came about because I actually own a cookie company, a subscription company called Self-Care Cookie Club. And my mother kept requesting a peppermint cookie. Please, please, she loves peppermint. So I thought for the holidays, for our December cookie, we would do a deconstructed peppermint bark. All right, that cocoa is nicely mixed in. Now, comes the fun part. I'm gonna add in my baking powder, my baking soda, and my salt. Again, slowly incorporate these. Now, normally, and I won't subject you all to it, but normally I would be here singing my little heart out. Because that's what I do. I bake and I sing. Like my life is a Hallmark movie. It is not, I promise you. Though if it were, I'm pretty sure I'd be the weird single friend. Now we incorporate the flour. We're gonna do 2.5 cups of flour. So I'm gonna incorporate them 1/2 cup at a time. Now once we get the flour incorporated, you've got a really beautiful dark chocolate cookie base. From there, you can just get as creative as you want. I'm going to show you how to make it into a deconstructed peppermint bark cookie, but I've also done this and used it for, I did a dark espresso, chocolate covered espresso bean cookie. Delicious. This is my favorite chocolate cookie base. I'm doing 2.5 cups of flour, so I'm really pretty much an equal opportunity cookie consumer. I don't think I've met a cookie I don't like. But this dark chocolate base, definitely one of my favorites. Alright, we've got 1 more cup of sugar to go. Sorry, flour, not sugar. I'm also pretty surprised that I'm not wearing any of this flour yet, because that generally happens at least once. Alright, our last 1/2 cup of flour. I've got this with a paddle attachment, by the way. This is a pretty sturdy cookie dough. I prefer it. All right, crank that bad boy. Do you name things? I name everything in my house. My mixer is no different. This is Betty Ann, named after my grandmother who taught me to bake. All right, look at that. Isn't that awesome? And scrape the sides down real quick. Make sure I've got all that goodness, everything incorporated really well. And then we're gonna add all the goodies that turn it into a deconstructed peppermint bark cookie. Again, from here, you could really go crazy with just about anything. Add coconut and almonds, and you've got an Almond Joy cookie. Maybe you don't feel like a nut. Okay, I'm done. I won't subject you. Now, here we go. Crushed candy cane. All right, I've got about a half a cup of that. And then, like I said, I own a cookie business, so I bake a lot of cookies. So I just combine my white chocolate and dark chocolate. So I've got semi-sweet minis and white chocolate chips. I'm gonna add a cup. Maybe a touch more just for fun. That's about 1 1/4 cup. And now we're ready to plate these bad boys up. If you want to make them extra fancy, when you roll them in balls, you can also just lightly dip the top of your cookie into more crushed candy cane. It'll melt really beautifully on top and show just a little bit of that red and white. I'm not going to do that today because, quite frankly, these are for moi, and I just want to eat them as fast as possible. Okay. That part is done. I'm gonna come right here and I'm gonna show you how I do cookie balls. I would normally refrigerate this for probably 30 minutes or so. Just let it get nice and chilled. Excuse me. Magic. There you go. So literally, I'm just gonna plop these right out onto my cookie sheet that's already been wax paper lined. And I can fit about 20 to this large sheet pan. At 375, you want to leave them for 8 to 10 minutes. I would underbake these, not overbake them. So you sit these out and you roll them into a ball. Just about that size. Lightly press it down. Put it on your baking sheet and it is ready to go. You're going to repeat that. Bake it for, like I said, 8 to 10 minutes. And when it is done, let me show you what these beauties look like. Peppermint Bark cookies. Happy holidays, everyone.
Awesome job. I tell you, Amber, I think, is an amazing cook, and I love to watch all her recipes when she's on the 4 p.m. on Tuesdays. So great job. Good job. And we'll have that recipe for you so you guys at home that want all the specifics, we'll pass it along. Okay, we got some viewer questions. I have to put this one right up first. It's my mom. My mom's watching, and this is a funny story. She was saying, do you have any Christmas Eve special evening plans for your meal? And I do, we do. It all started because back in the day, I did a lot of TV in college, and in the spring or Christmas break that I had to work on Christmas Eve. And so one of the only places that was open on my drive home was McDonald's. And so I would just pick up McDonald's chicken nuggets, French fries, and we would take them home. And then that was our Christmas Eve traditional meal. And that has been my tradition forever I can think of. And so even when we had a blizzard of Christmas a few years back, my husband got in the car, was driving down to get them. And he said, I knew when I saw cars in the ditch that I needed to turn around. And I was, that was, I think, the only year we may not have had them. Now what our Christmas Eve consisted of, although this year is going to be different, will be McDonald's. But then we love to serve at our church. And Asbury has a lot of Christmas Eve programs. And so we would, and there's a McDonald's right over there. So we would eat and then go to church and then and serve. And so that was always our tradition. So thank you, Mother. Mwah, love you. Do you guys have any tradition things that you like to eat?
You can go first, Dave.
Yeah, well, cinnamon rolls. Okay, so I'm definitely not the CrossFitter, so I'm doing my own world over here. So we got cinnamon rolls. We are going to be doing hopefully this year I will make the Davis family cheesecake. So what I've heard back in the day that we got this recipe from a department store in Ohio, and somehow convinced them to give us the recipe. This was like back in the 30s and 40s, so I don't know where it came from, but it became the Davis family cheesecake. It has like 6 ingredients. It's super simple. It is the richest, densest, greatest piece of dessert. It's just amazing. So my grandma cooked it. My dad can make it. I can make it. My sister makes it, and she does twists on it with twirls and swirls. Oh man, Davis family cheesecake. I've got to do that this year.
Will you share that recipe, Dave? I bet people would like to have that if you're willing.
Yeah, well, cream cheese, sugar, butter, vanilla. That's the filling, pretty much.
Oh,
Eggs.
Is William up? Was that him crying?
Yes, sir, William. William is up.
Amy, what about you and food for the holidays?
Well, like you, I have worked a lot of Christmas Eves. And so it kind of just depends which photographer I'm with for that year. But for the past few years that I've had to work, my mom has actually sent pizza to the station. So we've been able to eat with coworkers and everything like that. But on Christmas Day, when I've been working for the past actually 3 Christmases, I've been paired with one of our awesome former photojournalists, Chris McNamara. And we would always go to a Chinese buffet and eat lunch. And that was kind of just like our thing. So whenever I am at home with family, we would go to a Thai restaurant on Christmas Eve. Basically, because that was one of the only places that was open. And it kind of turned into a really fun family tradition. My grandma never liked eating Thai food. So it was kind of like her one time of year that she would branch out and eat Thai food with us. But it's been a while since I've been home on Christmas Eve to be able to eat with them. But we have a lot of fun anyway. Wherever you are, you can embrace it.
Absolutely. Hey, one of our viewers, I think this is interesting, and I don't know if you guys have put out a nativity scene, but I have heard this conversation, and some families are torn over this. For the nativity, do you put out baby Jesus when you set it up, or leave that part until Christmas Eve? Guys?
Well, Nancy, thank you for this question. We've always just put him out when he comes out. My aunt was a missionary to Niger in Africa for years. She brought back this like carved nativity scene. My grandma still has it. It's really beautiful, very simple. And she got it in Niger, and baby was always out. Baby was always out. Like after Thanksgiving, baby Jesus was in the nativity scene.
Yeah, we had a glass nativity scene growing up, and I remember I was always just mesmerized by it. And every year, whenever we got it out, I had to set it up. I wouldn't let anybody else do it, wouldn't let my mom do it, my dad do it. I had to do it. But I always put baby Jesus out, whenever we were setting it up, because I don't know, I just feel like it was every time you looked at it, then you had a great reminder of what Christmas was all about.
I remember and I do collect nativities, and all of them either have it in Mary's arms, the baby in Mary's arms, or I always put it out. But when about 2 years ago, I think I wrap everything up. Everything gets put away in boxes. Even the ornaments, each one has their own. It's really time consuming, but I've not lost a lot of them. I've not broken any. And but it was interesting. So I wrapped the camel, and I wrapped the donkey, and I wrapped the sheep and the shepherd, and and I put them all in there. And then the next year when I'm pulling them out, I'm just, kind of thinking and enjoying that. And I'm like, oh my goodness, I can't find baby Jesus. Gee, where are you? And all of a sudden he just was there. And I was like, and it was kind of like this moment where it's like, you just got to look for him because he's right there.
Oh, that's great.
I thought that's what Christmas is all about. It really is. Hey guys, this has been such a blast. I've truly enjoyed our conversation. I hope our viewers have as well. I know this will get posted and maybe folks will be listening at another time, and we would love to hear from you on each of our Facebook pages. But Christmas, is family. And I know, as we mentioned, it's really hard for families, especially if you have loved ones that are in retirement centers or in nursing homes or far away. And our thoughts and prayers are with you and your family. I'd like to give Dave and Amy just one final thought as we say so long today. Dave?
Well, thank you for watching this. And I just hope this lifts you up and just brings you joy. That's what we're trying to do for this last hour. Just bring you joy. Take your mind off things, take you back to years gone by. I know that I just remember all those loved ones over the years in these great and magical times. So I just hope that you have the best Christmas, a great new year, happy holidays, and just remember those who you love and spend time with those who you can't. And if you can't, try to Zoom them, call them, text them, and just let them know even that you're thinking about them during this season. Even if you can't do FaceTime or you don't know how to do it, you can always reach out to somebody. So thank you so much for giving us this time to share.
Yeah, it's been so much fun being able to share some Christmas memories. And it may be different this year because of the pandemic, but every year is different. Christmas is never the same every year. You may be doing the same traditions, and you may be going in the same routine, but it's not always the same. And it's just been a fun time being able to share. And I love when Colin pops in.
Yeah. The attention definitely goes to the kiddos out there.
Merry Christmas.
Oh yeah, that's for sure.
Hey, we do appreciate our viewers. As we've not been able to be out at Christmas parades, a couple of quick things. The Angel Tree wraps up today on December 10th. So if you've not returned those, do so. Find a place, a way to give, because it is a special time of year. If you are blessed and have that little extra that you can help some other person that might be in need. And I'm really excited. The Symphony Orchestra, Tulsa Symphony, is having their hometown holiday coming up on December the 19th. On Amy's birthday, 7 o'clock on the Tulsa CW. And we'll be doing, many of us will be a part of that program. And it is our gift to you in the city of Tulsa. So thank you guys very much. I know, Dave, I'll see you on TV. Amy will watch for you on the weekend. And everyone have a Merry Christmas and a Happy New Year. Bye for now.
Yes.